Oh, g'day scrappers. Thought today I'd talk about a little bit more about melting aluminium bars and copper bars and selling them on eBay. I'll just pour this copper. Check that out. Yeah, so I've just been pouring myself some nice copper bars here. These are about, 2 pounds. This one here is probably quite a lot more. But a few people, or quite a lot of people actually, been talking about, the last video that I did about melting aluminium bars, and when I got a bit excited and I said, oh, this has got to be worth 20 times more than scrap value. And maybe it is, because this bar here weighs about half a kilo, so it's basically 50 cents worth of aluminium. And when I said 20 times, well, 20 times would be $10. And so you would think that a nice hand-poured aluminium bar would be worth $10, surely. So that's 20 times the scrap value. So for a lot of scrappers, they're looking at maximising their scrap and trying to get the most value out of it. When it comes to aluminium, if this furnace here is an electric furnace, it costs about $450. The crucibles don't last that long. It's just not worth melting aluminium bars in this type of furnace. But as you've seen on YouTube, there's so many homemade furnaces that you can build using gas, using a real good one was waste oil. Make yourself your own backyard furnace, and then it'll be worthwhile melting aluminium and turning them into bars like this. And so 10 times or 20 times the value. If we got 50 cents and we turn this into $10, that means that you might have 200 pounds of copper of aluminium that's worth $100. Potentially you could turn $100 worth of scrap aluminium into $2,000 worth of aluminium bars. Now sure, that's going to take a long time to sell these things, but they don't have a use by date. And so all you need to do is just stack them up and just sell them. And even if it takes you years, you're still turning $100 worth of aluminium into $2,000 worth of cash. So it's really up to you, but I still recommend not to use an electric furnace for aluminium. Just purely go for a backyard style, and the bigger the crucible, the better. Like you can see, this crucible here, it's only about 2 inches wide. So most aluminium is a lot wider. Like I can't melt this bar again because it's just too wide for the crucible. So you're going to want a crucible that it is at least 4 inches wide. That way you can fit a lot of your aluminium stuff in there, like heat sinks and stuff like that. They're just too wide. You need to cut up everything, and if you have to add more labor, then it's just not going to be worth it. But well, yeah, all I was trying to say is just it is definitely worth melting your scrap aluminium into really nice ingots like this. I've got myself a little stack here now, just been slowly melting them, and check this one, really nice fat one. But the thing is, because you've got the slag or whatever it is on the top, the dross, it does sort of mess up your pores. Like it really takes quite a lot of practice. And again, so if I stuff one of these up, I can't really melt this back down. I just have to sell it as scrap if it's really ugly. So that's another thing. When you've got a bigger furnace, you can just drop this back in and remelt it and go again, and just keep going until you got really perfect bars. Whereas copper is a little bit different. It doesn't have the dross like the aluminium creates, and so therefore it's a lot easier to pour copper bars. But then again, you've got to get your copper really high temperature, and so therefore I've got mine at 1160 degrees Celsius. So to get a a backyard homemade style furnace up to that, it's going to take a bit more, and you're going to need some sort of thermometer to tell you the temperature. Otherwise you're never going to know if you've got it hot enough to actually melt copper, because copper takes a lot of heat. But it's a little bit easier for me to melt it into melt copper in this electric furnace, although it's still not really 100% designed for any other metals apart from precious metals, and mostly just gold and silver. That's about what they're pretty much designed for. So the subject here is a lot of people saying, oh, this is great, I want to start making my own aluminium bars and copper bars and selling them on eBay and increasing the value. And so that's what I'm trying to look at now, to see what I can do about, well, see if I can actually sell a bit of copper and aluminium in the bar shape myself. Yeah, but as I said, they're going to be slow sellers. Like this bar here, this is just about as perfect as I can get it. The top's really nice. It's got the nice sort of rough, lumpy kind of effect, and it just yeah, it's just a beautiful solid bar, and this one probably weighs close to 3 pounds. So when it comes to these bars, I'm really going to have to sell them, or try and price them accordingly to the weight, and then just multiply the weight, the value as scrap, by so many times. Because copper takes so much more heat than aluminium, you can't just do it in a cheap little furnace really that well. So you probably want to get a bit more return on your copper, but there's only so much you can sell them for until it gets a little bit too crazy. So but I'm guessing somewhere around $10 each for these aluminium poured bars. If it was much less than that, then yeah, I'm not really sure if it's going to be worth selling. Like I said, these are about ½ pound, or actually less. I can't really remember now. But yeah, so I'm not 100% sure if these are going to sell well, and if we're going to get the good money for them. But still, it's a really nice little collection to keep. I've got 5 bars here so far. I've got a couple of bars that I've made this morning of copper, and this one here now. And I just want to turn this out. There we go. So yeah, this looks like it's going to be a reasonably good pour. It's a reasonably good pour. It's going to need a little bit of sanding down a bit, but I'm just going to go and dip this into water I've got out the back. Okay, so this one turned out, got a little bit of sharp edges on the top, but that's okay, can grind this off. It's got a little bit of borax stuck onto the top, that'll come off, and then I'll polish it up. And this is, yeah, pretty good bar actually. A little bit thicker than this one, and still a bit thinner than this one. This one was my first super pour I did this morning. I had a lot of copper in the crucible, so poured a real ripper. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and list these on eBay and see if they actually sell, how much they sell for. I might just start them off at a reasonable minimum and just see, or might even do buy it nows. That way, I don't want to put it up for $1 and put it up on auction and it ends up selling for $2. There's a few dollars worth of copper in there, but it's not just the value of copper, it's my time and effort to make the bar. So I'm gonna put them at buy it now at various prices according to the weight and the overall look of the bar, and I'll get back to you once the bars are listed, and hopefully we get some sales and can see once and for all if these poured bars are going to actually sell. Maybe in a copper you might also want to try smaller ingots, like 2 ounce, 3 ounce ingots or something like that. But yeah, I suppose if you're going to do bars, you might as well do a good decent sized bar that's going to hold in your hand. So yeah, I might just take the weights of the copper. Okay, so this bigger bar weighs 1.6 kilograms. So that's a little bit over 3 pounds. So that's a really nice, I mean, that's a bar. If you threw this bar at someone, you'd kill them. The one I just did recently was 1.1 kilo. So that's a nice weight, actually, over 1 kilo. And the bar that I just poured, we've still got to polish up and get a little bit of crud off it. That's 1.25 kilo. So yeah, a little bit under 3 pounds. Yeah, quite a bit under 3 pounds, but still a nice weight. Whereas these aluminium bars, you might recognize this bar. This was the bar I did in the last video, and 465 grams, so just over 1 pound exactly. This one here, the bigger one, that's 550, so it's over half a kilo bar. Okay, that was just polished up the bar there. So, and what I did is I just used the grinder and just took off the sharp edge, so just so it looks a little bit more cleaner. And so very nice, beautiful little bar. So again, you know, like with these, you know, I'm not sure what people will want to keep these for, just as a paperweight, just something cool to have. But yeah, like I've mentioned before, you could probably drill holes in them and use it as a pen stand. You could probably engrave it and use them as gifts, or just put your own little logos and personal stuff on it. You can do whatever you like, but that's a beautiful little, you know, pure copper ingot, ready for sale. If someone wants one, they'll probably find them on eBay soon. Yeah, I suppose the next video on this subject, I should have these listed on eBay and maybe some results. Alright guys, keep scrapping, have fun, and I'll catch you next time.